So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Mayor Prince Area podcast. I'm glad to have you listening this afternoon. Today, our focus segment is going to be on special improvement districts and some of the businesses here on the west side of Jersey City, what they're doing, how they're coping with COVID-19, and just, ways that they're staying afloat and pivoting and changing to survive in this environment. So I would like to introduce Chris Bernardo. He is from Open Public Spaces. He is the manager for the West Side Partnership here in Jersey City. He's also manages other bids and SIDs across the state. So welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Mira. It's great to be here. It's a very interesting and challenging time. It's actually an interesting time to be involved with special improvement districts, whether you're a public space manager or a stakeholder. Obviously, we have some unique circumstances, especially in New Jersey, as we deal with this crisis as the hardest hit state in the country right now.
Yeah, I know, very true. And we also have Jake Gerges, who is the owner of American Laundromat. They have a couple locations here in Jersey City, but predominantly servicing the west and south sides of the city. And he's in a few other cities around the state. So Jake, welcome.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, and I'm honored for being on this podcast here with you.
Great. So Chris, to get people started, and for those who aren't familiar, what is a special improvement district?
The Special Improvement District is really a mechanism for funding improvements that cities, especially today, don't really have the tax base to fund. Mm-hmm. I always say there's a really good reason why we call them special improvement districts. And it's because they provide special services that business communities need in order to grow and to spur new investment. Those services can include maintenance, they can include supplemental security, they can include capital improvements, marketing for the district, general advocacy on behalf of the business district with local government. It's a way to fund those improvements. The actual mechanism for it is an assessment on properties within a defined area, and the monies that are generated through that assessment go to the district management corporation that is in charge of managing the special improvement district.
Great, thank you for that. And so with the West Side Partnership, it is the newest special improvement district here in Jersey City. Can you talk a little bit about the first year and some of the goals for the second year?
Yeah, first year is really all about quality of life on West Side Avenue and doing whatever we can to build the type of environment that business owners want to see around their business, and making the district as attractive as possible so that residents feel great and feel really proud about their West Side commercial corridor. We started off mid last year to later last year with maintenance services, and we started to build on those maintenance services with supplemental security. So we now have police officers that patrol the district during key times of the week. We do have limited funds, so it's not a 7-day per week program on the security side, but we've worked with our local community services officer to identify those times that are most important to our businesses, which are typically later afternoon and early evening, and Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. So we're really pleased with how that's been working out. To supplement that and to sort of add to our security presence, we've also initiated a security camera program. We have one system up already. We're looking to do probably 2 or 3 more throughout the district. And that's just a way to add another set of eyes on the district to monitor quality of life issues. I've found in other places where we've worked, they've been really successful at identifying things like graffiti, illegal dumping, which is always on our minds and always an issue. Really start getting on top of those quality of life issues. It's been really helpful. Beyond the quality of life stuff, we're also doing beautification. You'll see out in the district now we have new planters. We started out with a small set of planters, about 15 planters. We'll be expanding that each season to really grow our inventory of beautification in the district. We're going to be putting up new banners soon. We're really excited about that. We actually have I think a unique set of assets on West Side Avenue in that we've got beautifully aligned Cobra poles up and down the corridor that can really help us get our name out there, but also sort of set the tone for the district. Beautiful banners and highly visible artwork on the banners is really a nice touch. It helps to create a sense of place. So we're really excited about that. You'll probably see those out in the district sometime early summer. And then, yeah, just moving beyond that, we've got some capital improvements that we want to do. We want to help business owners out with sign and facade grants. We'll be putting that program together over the summer. And I'm really pleased to say that, we've been able to set some money aside to help those businesses that are struggling as a result of COVID-19. So we're putting some money aside that can be used toward either direct grants to support businesses as they try to get used to what life is going to be like now for the foreseeable future, and new costs associated with PPE and getting their businesses organized so that they can be compliant with new social distancing regulations, and then maybe voucher programs as well that can go to local residents so that they can use those vouchers in local businesses, so that we're helping to support both the residents and our small business owners.
Great. So speaking of which, I know right now it's a very uncertain time. So how do you think that a special improvement district either is empowering or disempowering to commercial corridors?
So I think that special improvement districts really weigh heavy in times like this. Communications is key. And some of the things that we're focusing on is getting out to our business community and trying to find out what are their real needs right now. So we're developing a survey that we can get out to our stakeholders to find out how prepared they are to comply with what we anticipate are going to be the new regulations, whether that's a cap on capacity for restaurants or new requirements for screening employees and potentially even customers. Which is something that is, going to be brand new for everybody. Understanding, how they're going to set up the physical location of their places to comply with social distancing, new requirements for tables and seating, new requirements for making sure that customers, if they're lined up outside, that they're socially distant and compliant with those issues. So these are the types of things that we're going to work on. Making sure that residents and visitors to districts clearly understand what the expectations are. That's something that I think is going to really weigh heavy in a lot of our commercial corridors, because business owners are going to be busy enough trying to get their restaurants and their stores set up. They're also going to need to deal with customers who don't necessarily feel obliged to abide by certain rules and regulations, or maybe just simply aren't paying close enough attention to what the new regulations are. I think that our commercial corridors could really use some assistance in getting the word out about what the expectations are for masks, for remaining socially distant. I think that's going to go a long way in helping our guys really treat this issue. So that's something that I think you're going to see us working on, whether it's flyers, window readers, maybe even banners. And some of that stuff can certainly be done in partnership with the city. And I'm sure the city will be rolling out its own communications program shortly for this stuff as well. So we'll probably focus on that with them. The other element to all of this is more along the lines of legislation and administrative actions that can take place to support the business improvement districts, but more specifically the stakeholders. There's been a lot of talk about supplemental seating and trying to help meet the need for additional seating as our restaurants lower their capacity. That can take shape in way of parklets, utilizing parking spaces for additional seating. It could potentially take shape in strategic street closures that allow businesses to come out on the street during certain times of day to help support, dinner times, for instance. But a lot of that's going to require collaboration between the city and the business improvement districts to figure out exactly what it looks like. We'll be coming out with our own set of guidelines and recommendations for how we can partner with the city in those ways as we move through the summer. I think, like a lot of other organizations, we're sort of waiting and seeing how the interplay between the municipality and the state works out. Because right now we've got a state committee that is, assembling their own guidance for reopening. The cities are sort of trying to figure out locally what they need to do. And I think it's important for us to remember that cities have been hardest hit with COVID. So there are conditions and circumstances that are really unique to our urban areas that our suburban communities and rural communities aren't dealing with. So it's important for us to communicate with the state so that they understand that we might not be able to reopen at the same pace as other communities around the state, as our numbers don't decrease as quickly, and our sheer density, I think, just calls for a little bit more careful consideration with some of the things that we do. I think holding back on large community events, public events, things of that nature is going to be really important. And then locally within our commercial corridors, we can work closely with our stakeholders on really rolling this out in a very phased in way.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I know especially here on the west side where we have narrower sidewalks, a lot of narrow streets, we've sort of taken a look at potential areas where we can do street closures and the like, but we have certainly different challenges than other parts of the city.
Yep.
So speaking of challenges in businesses, I think this is a good way to segue over to Jake. Jake is also the board president of the West Side Partnership. I forgot to mention that in the introduction. So Jake, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and some of the challenges you've been facing and ways that you have been addressing them? Because as a laundromat, you're considered an essential business, so you've been open the whole time.
Yes, we've been very fortunate, and it is indeed a hygienal need that the community does absolutely need. To give you a little bio, we've been in business since 1987. Mm-hmm. My father started back in those days, and I took the reins over about 7 years ago. And we've now expanded in other regions of Jersey City. People come to us because of the type of equipment we have and how clean our facilities are, and of course the helping hand that we offer that really adds a touch to anyone who walks in through the door, regardless of their circumstances. We're born and raised in Jersey City. We're locals. We've been on West Side Avenue our whole lives. So a lot of people in the community also do know us and can always rely on us for the best possible laundry service you can get in town. We definitely have experienced various issues handling COVID. It's one of the things Chris mentioned, capacity issues. A lot of the stores on West Side Avenue are much smaller stores as compared to other regions of the commercial districts. Your average size stores average between as small as 800 square feet to as big as 2,300, 2,500 square feet. So we've definitely been practicing the social distancing in our stores. We've been where we can obtain masks, sanitizer. We offer sanitizer to our customers as they walk in and leave. We offer masks to our customers as well, very affordable masks, because we also do understand due to the pandemic that supply and demand is absolutely a issue, where others have walked into our stores and tried to use our services, but we weren't able to because they didn't have a mask. So what we do is at that point, we offer them a mask. And half the reasons as to why they don't is because they can't find them, or two, they can't afford them. Mm-hmm. But they do find them. So we do what we can to fill in the gap. Mm-hmm. And same thing with the sanitizer. Our staff is constantly cleaning, sanitizing, cleaning doors, keeping themselves safe and others safe. What we also have implemented is no folding within our establishments. So you come in, you wash your laundry, you dry it, and then you'd have to go home after that. Just so we try to keep up with the turnaround time, but also controlling the crowd. And if anybody who has a car, we do encourage them, once you do put your clothes into wash, that you please stand or go inside your vehicles. And whoever doesn't have a vehicle can, if it's a nice day out, we encourage them to stand outside and practice social distancing. That way others can come in and utilize our facility without violating the number of people that we have in our facility. So it's quite a task. I also have try to have dedicated people to kind of keep tabs and keeping track of the amount of people we have in there. And we do definitely come across people who are also uninformed or do not believe so much of the crisis at hand. That has definitely been another task that we've had. We've had authorities come in and emphasize the rules to certain individuals, so that way we stay compliant. But for the most part, just we're taking it day by day. Really hopeful that this does come to an end, and that the social distancing does work, and that people are getting tested, and we really are hopeful. We know that there is going to be a day where this will come to an end, and and everybody that we talk to are in high spirits, and they're just as hopeful as well, so that way they can resume to things. We've even implemented a program where families that are in such hardship, that do not have the means for hygiene, we do encourage them to still come. We run the machines from the, in the dryers, so that way, at least, to some sort of degree, they have clean clothes still. Especially people that we know, who've known us for a long time. Again, this is not forever.
Right. Right. And it's, also sort of exemplifies the way that all of these challenges are interconnected, right? So if you have a family that maybe somebody has lost their job and they're waiting for unemployment to kick in, which has been another issue here in the state. It's another conversation for another day. But knowing that there's businesses here that are looking out for residents, I think is really, really important. So thank you for that. Question for you. So is your laundry, your main location on Westside Avenue, is that open 24 hours?
Yes, it's open 24 hours. And that was one of the ways for us to also spread the crowd. Right. As well. And I think that's food for thought for other businesses that are out there, whether it's a restaurant or a liquor store or whatever the case may be, if they're having capacity issues or such high demand, which is a good thing. But you also don't want to risk people being outside all the time. So if we're able to spread the crowd around where, they know we will always be open, but, they know that we'll be slower at certain times where they won't be as rushed per se to be in and out, or you have kids with you, if the kids can stay at home, rest while you're doing laundry overnight. And we also service a lot of nurses and doctors who do work around the clock with our wash and fold service. We've implemented incentives for them as well. So, we try to be an all-around hometown laundry facility with a company like Practices.
Well, that's why our small businesses are really so important, because of that connection to community and the ability to support each other, but also to be able, you guys know who the people are that need the help. So it sort of eliminates that first barrier where sometimes people might feel a little bit uncomfortable even asking for it in the first place. So that's great. So this is a question to both of you as it relates back to the Westside Partnership. What things have you all been doing to support the community, and how the businesses in the district in general been able to participate?
Yeah, so we actually we were really fortunate. We were able to support Christ Hospital recently with a lunchtime delivery, a donation of lunch for frontline workers from St. Mark's Pizza, which was really, really great. That worked out, I think, well for everybody. Another thing that we're working on, like I said earlier, is a voucher program, which we sort of had a soft opening of and providing some vouchers to local residents that are participating in various online games and social media activities that different nonprofits are doing. So we made vouchers available for that as well for people to use inside of stores along West Side Avenue. The one challenge that we had early on was not a lot of stores were open, unfortunately, and so that limited the number of businesses that could participate. But that list is growing, and we're hoping to expand that capacity as we move into the summer months.
That's great. So how many businesses do you think in the Special Improvement District are currently open or are planning to reopen now that the city is allowing and the state's allowing curbside delivery?
Yeah, I'd say we're probably about 60% right now. So we're waiting on probably another 30 to 40% to sort of open up. You know, it's not just about opening up. It's not just about the regulations. Right. You know, a lot is dependent on where they're at in their business life right now as a result of all of this chaos, so that they can actually open their doors. You know, a lot of restaurants are going to have to go through the business math, for instance, of figuring out whether or not it's worth it for them to even open up, let's say at 50% capacity. That's something that remains to be seen. And we're going to be communicating shortly with a lot of those restaurant owners and food outlets to find out what's really happening and what do they need in terms of support so that they can even contemplate opening up at a diminished capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, again, this is a question I'll give to both of you. So with regard to the different streams and forms of assistance, whether they've been grant programs or loan programs, and some of the challenges that we've had in getting the information, but also even understanding like the monetary need. How have businesses been able to avail themselves of it? What have been some of the challenges?
Well, I can speak firsthand. I mean, most of the feedback that we're getting is they weren't really able to participate in a lot of the federal programs. Mainly because of the capacity issues of the Fed and some of the challenges that they had early on with the website crashing and not really being able to get on and get your application through. Some people are dealing with just the ability to gather the necessary documents to actually get to apply. I think the big challenge there was people didn't realize early on they really should have been talking to their local financial institutions, because it was local banks that were vetting and processing these loan applications on behalf of the SBA, and the financial institutions really had a lot to say about who got loans and who didn't. Which is simply to say that they were able to hold the hand of their customers and kind of walk them through and shepherd them through the process. I think that is where a lot of business owners maybe fell short, not realizing that they really should have been on the phone with their financial institutions and requesting that they help shepherd things through for them. So that was, I think, probably one of the biggest issues that we've seen in not just in Jersey City, but in every city where we operate. That was a big consideration. Jake, I'd be curious, what on your end, what were you hearing?
Well, part of it was absolutely the communication and a lot of rumors going around. And being that on West Side Avenue, we have the original people on the block, if you will. So a lot of the old timers and stuff. So they're not antiquated with using a computer and doing the online application and to that nature. And there wasn't really no like hard copies available. And the other issue was accounting institutions that they solely rely on to do these things for them were also closed due to the order. So the some that's still open but working remotely from home were very much at a limited capacity to be able to access files or personal financials, and the business owner being able to try to get the information over to them. So there was a lot of that going around, which took a lot of time, and then boom, before you know it, the first round of it was over. It ended so quick. So that's where I think a lot of the damage occurred within the business owners, especially within our neighborhood. They can only survive for so long with whatever reserve you may have had. So now that with the second round that's out, I know my bank was more aggressive this time to reaching out to everyone. I know not every bank's the same, but some will verbally do the application for them on the phone. To try to help these people in need. But yeah, part of it was the miscommunication, and two, financial institute or accounting firms that were closed. And the other part, if you wanted to fill out the application, the banks were also closed. They weren't allowing anyone inside the banks. So it was, I wouldn't say a double-edged sword, but it kind of felt, that's how they felt.
Right.
It was a perfect storm of, complications, right. And also a little bit of human nature too, because I don't think people, even today, it's hard for us to speculate about how this is going to play out over the next 6 months. I think there was also a lot of speculation as to how long a shutdown would even last, because it's something that, before this event, it's something that none of us could have even contemplated, that we would be shutting down our businesses because of some type of pandemic level virus, and so there's probably a little bit of a shock factor that played into some of it as well. So.
And also too, here in Jersey City, we are the most diverse city in the nation, so you have the language barriers in some of these situations too, I would imagine. So there'll be the debriefing on all of this. I don't want to use the word postmortem because that just seems the wrong word for right now. But it's going to be very interesting, I think, and if there is a second wave, how we may be preparing for it. I think that's going to be even more challenging for our businesses. So, yeah. I don't.
That is part of it, and also the local banks, the people working, the managers, the branch managers, they were so overwhelmed with trying to do things remotely as well. You have X amount of banks, but within West Side Avenue alone, you have over 800,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only do so much.
Yeah.
I don't want to say there's a silver lining, but I will say that we definitely operated on the premise, don't let a good crisis go to waste. So we used this opportunity to update our stakeholder lists and our phone numbers and communications with them, specifically so that if we do get a second round, we're in a much better spot to be able to communicate directly with our stakeholders and get vital information to them. So that's something that I think every business improvement district should really be focusing on right now, making sure that you've got the proper tools in place to get information out to your stakeholders.
Absolutely. And I think Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, we did also post a lot of information within our SIDS Facebook page on the application links, the PPP links, a webinar with a law firm with the way to go about doing it, and also tenant and landlord issues that you may have. So we're also, Chris and his team is doing a phenomenal job getting as much information that's out there possible to everybody's hands to at least attempt to try to do this at home on their own and be able to get what they can.
Yeah, and one of the challenges that we're still having even today, as we sort of sort through all the different guidance and guidelines, is there's a lot of noise out there. There's so many different levels of government and different entities that are attempting to provide information that it's hard to decipher amongst all of it. And I think one of the things that we can do as a business improvement district is to sort of consolidate things a little bit and come up with some concise plans that are informed by the state guidance, but sort of cut through some of the other noise and kind of just get to the point. And I think that you're going to see more of that in the next few weeks, where we try to really sort of nail it down for business owners what exactly they need to do to be prepared for a reopening. And I think it kind of comes down to a couple of key things: making sure that they understand the requirements for PPE, and making sure that they have access to PPE. I think that's going to be significant. Making sure that they understand the regulations for social distancing and what they'll need to do on their end to actually effectuate that. And we can definitely do that in partnership with the municipality, whether it's additional seating, street closures, what have you. But just making sure that they're aware of those things so that they can operate. Also, things like I mentioned before, the new requirements that we can anticipate for screening employees. That's going to be something that is going to be really critical. And, if you're trying to manage everything else in your store, that's just one added factor that you're going to have to try to manage. So I think that we can really help by being a supporting force. A lot of business improvement districts are already making plans to serve as a monitoring component, where they'll go in and they'll see whether or not businesses are able to comply with social distancing. We can see whether or not store owners are having problems with certain customers, and try to get them the assistance that they need in order to comply. So there's a lot of that stuff that's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks that we're going to need to focus on.
Yeah, that's very, very good point. So our time here is almost up. So I'll give you guys a minute for a couple parting thoughts. But before we do, Jake, so American Laundromats, where are your locations? Where can people find you?
So we have a location on 536 West Side Avenue. That's our main location. Our second location that we just opened up last week, temporary in terms to have more availability for laundries, is on 583 West Side Avenue. And our other location on the South District is 123 Danforth Avenue. And then those are our Jersey City locations. And then we have our newly renovated location in South Orange, 347 Valley Street in South Orange, for anyone else who happens to listen to this in the area. That might be useful for them as well.
Okay, great. And Chris, if people want to learn more about the Westside Partnership, where can they do that?
They can go to our Facebook page at Westside Partnership right now. That's probably the best location to get information. We are working on a website now that we have a new, fresh logo that we can kind of work from and build the branding off of. So if you're interested in seeing what our new logo looks like, you can check it out on our Facebook page. And we'll be rolling out additional communications throughout the summer.
Okay, great. And any final thoughts on ways that residents can continue to support our small businesses until we figure out what a new normal is going to look like?
For sure. I shop local. Support your local businesses, the people that you see every morning who open at 6 o'clock in the morning on the dot for you. More than ever, we need your help. We will always encourage our business owners to be as fair as possible, not taking advantage of certain situations, as we hope that you come to shop local, and also listen to the guidelines, practice social distancing. As the saying goes, if you don't have something, ask for the world and see what you get back. It couldn't hurt to ask if you can't find certain things. I know in our facilities, we try to guide people to the right locations to where if they need, masks, sanitizer, a place to go get them for an affordable price for their budget, spread the word. And do what you can. Hopefully this is over soon.
It's important to take a breath and take it slowly. I think patience is really important. And we're going to get through this, and we will get back to a more normal looking life. But for right now, we have to listen and do what's best for our friends and our neighbors. And so if that means wearing a mask, if it means being just more cognizant of the need to be socially distant, we've got to put aside our personal, wantings and the everybody's frustrated that they've had to give up a little piece of their comfort. That's just what's called for here, and that's the measure of a great society, the ability to be able to do those things. And so even if we might not have great leadership from above, we've got great leadership around us and great leadership at our municipal level. And so let's support that and let's get behind that and do what we know is right.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you both. Stay safe and have a great holiday weekend.
Thank you, Mira.
Thanks, Mira.
Thank you for having us again, and enjoy.
Thank you.
You're well.
Stay safe, everyone.
So next up, we have Lorena Loiza from the McGinley Square Special Improvement District. Welcome, Lorena.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Great. And we also have Marcisco Morrison from 4Fitness over in the McGinley Square Special Improvement District on Montgomery Street, correct?
Correct. Thanks
Great.
for having me.
Great, welcome. So, so Lorena, tell us a little bit about the McGinley Square Special Improvement District. You are their new executive director. You started about, what, 6-8 months ago?
Yes, in September.
Great.
September 28th. Yep. Yeah, so I came in September of 2019 to the position. I was very excited. I'm still very excited getting to know the businesses. We have over 120 businesses operating in the McGinley Square District.
Mm-hmm.
Since most of our businesses are in the food industry, so not many of our stores have shut down during the time, which is a great thing. So we've been working very hard in supporting them. We've been creating liaisons with different places such as Healthier JC, with the prosecutor's office, and all that stuff.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the needs of the businesses in your district. I know with the social distancing protocols and changing around wearing masks and the like, how has that been for the businesses in the district to adapt and adjust over the last couple months?
So it was pretty hard at the beginning, just to get everyone on the same page. So what we decided to do was to create signs that had 4 or 5 guidelines, 5 steps, like wear a mask, wear gloves if you need to, keep your 6 feet apart distance, cleaning all the commonly used areas. That's something that we worked with Healthier JC, we worked with the prosecutor's office on, and now all of our businesses that are currently open have it displayed in their front window or front door, so it's easier for all of the patrons to follow the guidelines.
That's great. And so, Marcisco, your business is considered a non-essential business at this time. So, how's it been for you?
I mean, to be honest, it has been tough just not having the business open and the fact that I just relocated. But I mean, overall, I'm in a good place from a financial standpoint. It's, I mean, not getting the business, not having my staff able to work, it's been tough. But I mean, we're in a good place, and we're going to be okay.
Okay, good. Well, let's take a step back. So, so pre-COVID-19, and you're a fitness business, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys were doing and what services you offered?
Well, we've always been a personal training, one-on-one personal training facility. Mm-hmm. But this year I implemented a private small group training, where we were training anywhere from 3 to 6 people within the group. Mm-hmm. And that kind of made it more affordable for a lot more folks. and people tend to partake in it just like I thought they would. And my January business increased like literally maybe 10 to 15,000 just because of that. And February was like my highest gross month for the past 5 years since I've been there, just because of that program. So I knew moving into my new facility, things would have been gotten a lot better. However, due to COVID-19, it kind of threw damper in that. But things were going great, and I adjusted our behavior as far as training, and train online with our customers that we have. And I did 5 weeks of free classes because, to be honest, I needed to be out more.
Right.
So I cultivate this 5-week program, and was on offer to everyone that were available within Jersey City and around the world. And there are moments I have like over 100 people that were participating sometimes. So it was pretty good. So it's tough for businesses like myself, but I think if you're able to, I was able to maneuver and make it work for me to the point where I'm not disappointed at all.
Okay, that's great. So then would you say that if somebody were to want to start a personal training program, you're taking new clients online and they doing videos and
online, yeah. So everything is being done through Zoom at the moment.
Okay.
Where the program structure is completely different. So the new online class that we're starting begin, I think, the 8th of June. Yeah, and all that information is online already, and people could go to our website at 4fitnessjc.com to get more information.
Great. So Lorena, getting back to you in the Special Improvement District, what sort of things have you all been doing, and what are ways that businesses are supporting their community and supporting each other?
So we've been supporting the businesses that are currently open by helping them promote whatever it is they're selling, restaurants, stores, grocery stores. We've been doing that through our various social media outlets. So if they have any specials, anything that people are looking for during these times, so like hand sanitizers, wipes, things like that, basic necessities, we've been helping each store promote it online. And honestly, like, our businesses have been helping each other as well. It's amazing how I saw everyone work together, Prince of Pizza, Chicken Delight, Women Rising. So it was amazing. It's still amazing to see how all of our businesses, they see the other ones that probably aren't that strong in their social media outlets, so then they help them, which is amazing.
That's great. Now didn't the McGinley Square SID sponsor some packets or some would you work directly with Women Rising to help some of the families that are having some challenges with domestic abuse?
Yes. So the partnership, the board of directors came together, and we created a donation to Women Rising, which was a gift basket for the children that were currently placed in the emergency shelter, which included paint sets. It was really nice. And then they also sponsored dinner for them from 3 Coffee. Nice. The other donation that the board did was to the Jersey City EMS department, which was also very nice. I think it was about 15 or 20 pies that was delivered directly to them.
That's great. Yeah, and I know Prince of Pizza and Chicken Delight have been doing regular donations to a lot of the frontline workers at the hospitals and the police precincts, which I know is always very, very much appreciated. Right.
Yeah, they've been doing that on a regular basis.
Now, Marcisco, let me ask you, because with the stay-at-home that we've all been under for the last couple months, it's been challenging for some people to get out and do some physical activity, which also affects their mental well-being. So do you have any advice for residents who want to get out and some physical activity, but do it in a way that's going to be safe and, practice social distancing? I know we're asking people to wear masks. I'm asking a couple of questions at once. So let's push pause and let's the first one.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like I've been promoting the classes that I've had for people to do workout at home, because I understand a lot of people tend to think that they need to have some form of resistance, and if you don't have, using your own body weight is more than effective. So that's something we've been pushing a lot, and people have been partaking, like I said before. So I strongly suggest for people to do exercise within their home versus going outside. And if you happen to go outside, wear a mask. I do my cardio outside, and I wear my mask when I'm running through Jersey City. So I know it can be done, especially if you have the proper mask and so forth on. But exercising is definitely something one should be doing at this time.
So then so you would say like the old school calisthenics, like jumping jacks and push-ups and everybody's favorite burpees, stuff like that. Yeah. By
all means, and there are variations to them, right? Because not everyone could do jumping jacks or burpees. Yeah, but you could do the motion, and while without the high intensity to it, and still get a workout. Yeah, but those were best way, are like planks. Any exercise that challenges one nervous system will get an individual to sweat a lot more than they would normally do. So a plank would be an ideal exercise, or a plank extension where you extend the opposite leg and arm simultaneously, or are just doing like a bridge, hip thrust, working the hip flexors and your hamstring. Those movements will work the entire core, which is from your knee to your chest, back and front. So doing exercise like that, simple, like squats, lunges, hip thrusts, push-up, these are compound movements because they're utilizing more than one joints at a time, and it will make you sweat till tomorrow if you do a portion of it.
That's great. And you mentioned exercising with the right mask. Is there one that you found that is better for, say, like if you're running or biking?
Well, the masks that has the what do you call it? That tends to have some kind of hair filter. Is always the better mask. However, those are hard to come by and could be a little bit expensive. But any mask will do, because once it goes over your nostril or your nose, you just know how to breathe. Either not through your nose, but more through your mouth when you're doing so, and that would be more beneficial.
Okay, great. So, Lorena, let me ask you, so with the feedback you've been receiving from businesses now that we're getting ready to do some of the softer opening, like curbside delivery, and, having conversations with some of our barbershops and beauty salons about like the best protocol to reopen, what have you heard from them, and what do they think is going to be some good ways to try and reopen, to not only support themselves financially, but also get us to a place of whatever the new normal is going to look like?
Yeah. Well, first of all, everyone is excited. Everyone is anxious to come back. I know that the hair salons, the barber shops, they've been working on attaining their Barbicide certificates, that are current, up to date with everything that has been going on. So they're also looking for best and safe practices for their customers. McGinley Square is it's a small community where their customers are usually their friends. So they want to give the best of themselves to their customers so that they have, come back. So they're looking from the city, from the state, from the CDC to receive more information, clear information of what type of guidelines they need to follow, and they're more than ready to do so.
Great. And I know in speaking with some of the restaurants, when we're looking at the shifts in indoor capacity, have you guys had any preliminary conversations about possible ways to do street closures or, have like outside cafe service or backyard cafe service?
Yeah, several restaurants they're exploring that possibility. We're right in the intersection of Bergen Avenue and Montgomery Street, so it's a little bit difficult to kind of understand what closing a street would mean in this area. Yeah. We have several bus lines run through both streets that might make it a little bit impossible. But we've been discussing maybe closing off the smaller streets or during certain hours, like evening dining hours from 5 to 8 or 6 to 9, or maybe a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, things like that.
And I know that there's the municipal parking lot and then the private parking lot right on that corner of Bergen Avenue and what is that, Fairmont?
No, that's by Jordan.
Jordan, yeah. Those are private parking lots.
No, not that lot. Not the one by Astor Bar. The one as you're heading down. If you're heading
behind Wonder Eagles.
Yeah, no, not behind one. Well, that's one of them. That actually would be a really great option to look at that, and that's something we can certainly talk about from a city perspective. But by where the Imago Beauty Group is located,
right next door. So the Imago has certain spots there. Carval has spots there. Ita has spots there. So yeah, they've been discussing that as well.
Which could be a great option. And I know that there's been, a number of new business openings, which has been fantastic. But, Ita, for example, they opened up like a week or two
prior. Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah. And then we also had the Chicken and Waffles restaurant open during this whole thing, which I think is amazing.
Oh, so they're open now?
They're open.
Well, only pickup delivery.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Crema just reopened, correct?
Yes, they did last week. They reopened. Again, they placed like this metal thing in front, and they have a little window there where everything is delivered safely. I mean, that was their main concern. That was the first reason why they closed in the first place, so that they could update their business to what's going on now. So they did well.
Which is important, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So if people want to learn more about the McGinley Square Special Improvement District and the businesses located in it, where can they do so?
So our main channels are Instagram, McGinley Square SID. We're on Facebook, the McGinley Square SID as well. And we also have a website, McGinleySquarePartnership.com.
Great. And I know, Marcisco, you had mentioned your website, but you just moved into, and are you going to be moving into a new location?
Already moved in, yes.
How can people find you?
Yes. So our new location is at 667 Montgomery Street. That's between 7th Avenue and Jordan by the Armory. And our website is 4fitnessjerseycity.com.
Great. And that's probably the best way to get you right now, since
that's the best. That's the best way to get it, because, like I said, we online a whole lot, and I'm excited about what's to come. And I think that our community, like Lorena said before, are assisting each other. People tend to be respecting the social distancing for the most part, and and assisting each other, which is pretty good.
Great. And so our time here is almost done. So Lorena, any parting or final thoughts and any suggestions on ways that people can support their local businesses?
Well, first, I want to thank you, Mira. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about our businesses here in the McGinley Square District. It's very important. Shop local. Shop local.
Yeah.
Come to McGinley Square. It's a great place.
Yes.
Look for us. You're going to see friendly faces all over.
Wow, man.
And Marcisco, what about you?
Well, I definitely support shopping local, supporting the restaurants in the neighborhood. Myself, my wife and I, and the kids have been doing that pretty often. And just if you happen to go out, wear your mask, be conscious of others. And let's kick this thing into its, and get it over with.
Yeah, 100%. All right, you guys, thank you again so much for your time. And to those who are listening, please do make sure to check out the Westside Partnership and the McGinley Square McGinley Square Special Improvement District. And, just to see how businesses are reopening or the ones that are opening, because it's, we all know that small businesses are really the lifeblood of any city.
I totally agree.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, have a great holiday weekend. Be safe.
Enjoy your weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So once again, I would like to thank our guests, Chris Bernardo and Jake Gerges from the Westside Partnership, and Lorena Loiza and Marcisco Morrison from the McGinley Square Special Improvement District. So now we will go into a couple of quick updates for Jersey City for COVID-19. We've been doing really well with testing. The city is now offering swab test and antibody testing free to all residents. If you'd like to call to make an appointment, that number is 201-547-5535, and you can call Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. The city as a whole has been a really great leader in testing for the state, and it's also good to report that with our testing, we've started to plateau. So that's very exciting for us as a city. That means that while we still have a long way to go, we're definitely moving in the right direction for recovery as we move into the next phase of what this COVID-19 world looks like. So there were a couple of questions with regard to parking. As many of you know, the city has gone back to alternate side street sweeping. And the first week we were not enforcing, but now they are enforcing and issuing parking tickets. As we all know, sanitation and cleanliness is a big part of fighting this virus. And we just decided as a city, we went 7 weeks without street sweeping, and it was time to bring that back for the safety of our residents, most importantly. We know this presents some challenges for people that are working at home. So we also partnered with the school district to open up school lots for residents to park in. And that information can be found not only on the city website, but also in the description of the podcast here. If you feel that you were issued a ticket and it is not, wasn't issued appropriately, you can contest it. And you can contest that online. And for that, you can go to jcnj.org/plea-by-mail. And we'll also have that link up for you in the description as well. A few other steps we've been taking. The governor has shifted his executive order to allow for curbside pickup for non-essential businesses. So a number of our businesses have been doing that transition this last week as a sort of a soft opening, if you will. So please do reach out to your local businesses to see if they are back up and operating. I know a number of them are starting to do so, which is fantastic. As we go into the Memorial Day weekend, please just continue to be safe. Most of our parks now are open, passive area for walks. Playgrounds are still closed. So please be sure to practice social distancing. Make sure you wear your masks. If you have trouble getting masks, you can reach out to my office, 201-547-5092, and we can direct you to resources. If you have any other needs, also please do reach out. We are here for you 100%. And we look forward to seeing you all on the other side of this. So take care, have a good holiday weekend, and be safe.